welcome to Suspense Squad, where authors interview authors. And today, I'm so happy we have the fabulous Laura Scott with us.
Thank you.
And Laura is going to be with us talking about her book, and I cannot remember the title.
Christmas Crisis.
Laura is going to be talking with us about her next release, Christmas Crisis. So, Laura, if you can hold up the book so we can see the lovely cover.
I don't have a book. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Can you read us the back cover copy?
That I can do.
Okay.
So just to sort of set it up, I wrote an entire Finnegan First Responder series, 9 books. They're 9 siblings. Ellie, this is Ellie's book. It's the last book in the series, and she's the baby of the family. They called her the Oops baby, even though I don't know if she was really a Oops. But anyway, her older brothers had, after their parents died when she was only 14, her older brothers came back to the homestead and helped raise the kids. So Ellie is like lighthearted and fun and loves people and loves dogs and loves animals. So of course I had to really torture her in this book, and I feel a little bit bad about that. So this is Ellie's story. She is an EMT who hates blood, gets sick.
I found this on the web.
Okay, that was my watch. I'm sorry. I don't really
Okay, we can cut that out.
So anyway, so Ellie is an EMT that gets sick at the sight of blood. So this book, Christmas Crisis, there's an active shooter at the Christmas parade. This is supposed to be an easy job for Ellie, and it turns out to be anything but. So Ellie has to jump into the line of danger when a gunman open fires at the Christmas parade. Despite hating the sight of blood, she does what she has to do. I forgot to mention her oldest brother, Rye, is in charge of the tactical team for the Milwaukee Police Department. And she has a hot crush on one of the guys working in the team. And of course, she is off limits because she is the boss's youngest sister. So of course, Joe Kingsley is there. They have no choice, but they're working together to save lives. And actually, Ellie helps save Joe's life when the shooter tries to take him out. So they think the horror is done, except the shooter follows them to Ellie's home and opens up fire again. So Joe promises to keep Ellie safe. He will protect the youngest Finnegan sibling with his life. But this shooter isn't your typical average shooter. This guy has a cold and deadly purpose. It is up to Joe and the rest of the team to uncover his motive before he strikes again. You know, can Joe keep Ellie safe so she can celebrate her Christmas family reunion with the Finnegans? So the other thing is I wrote another series with Callahans in it, and they are second cousins. And Ellie did a DNA thing. So in this last book, not only do they do all this danger, but they come together at the end and they have a big family reunion where they finally reveal why the sisters, you know, lost touch with each other. So it really, I had this book, you know, every once in a while you get a book that kind of writes itself. This book wrote itself. It was really fun and easy.
Love it when that happens.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rarely does that happen, but this
Rarely.
and I think it was because I knew Ellie and Joe so well. So yeah, I'm really happy about this book.
I am looking
No,
forward to
serious.
digging into that series. It sounds really good.
It does.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Starting with the oldest brother, they all find love in some way, shape, or form, but
Do they have to be read in order?
they don't have to be. They're each their own book. But you know, I will reference people. So because once once Rye gets married and has Devin, and now she's pregnant, you know what I mean? If you haven't read the beginning books, you might be like, what's going on? But
Makes sense.
Sounds good.
All right, that sounds great. So you know the drill, how we're going to do this. We have some questions that we're going to ask you, and we are going to start with Loretta's question.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, Laura.
nice to see you too.
All right, I have a question. Actually, my question turns into really kind of 3 questions.
Okay.
So first is,
How did you get your start writing? How many books have you written? And how many are presently under contract?
Okay. So so I have been writing for a really long time, which I don't know if you guys realize, 20 years now.
Wow.
I've been writing. And so I got my start. So I am a nurse by background, a critical care nurse. And way back in the day, I went to an RWA conference and met an editor from the medical romance line, and she really wanted me to write a book for her. So I said, okay, because I had a suspense book, and she was like, well, we don't do suspense. So I was like, all right, I'll rip the suspense out. I'll throw more romance in, and they bought it. So that was my first book. So now, so then about 25 books in, I decided I didn't really want to write any more of those. And I really wanted to write suspense because that's what I've always written. So I got an agent and I switched. And I found Love Inspired, and it's really been like my home. I love Love Inspired suspense. So that happened in 09. I started to sell the Love Inspired suspense. I have written now 100 books.
Wow.
Wow.
That is amazing.
Amazing.
20 years, just
Wow.
kind of put that in perspective there.
That's awesome.
But I really love the Love Inspired, and I am actually now hybrid. So I do indie books. My Finnegan series is indie, and I have 4 books under contract with Love Inspired Suspense right now. I just signed a contract.
Ah,
And I
congratulations.
wish I would have known about it when they changed these books, but we'll see how it goes.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I love writing for Love Inspired, but here's the problem. It takes forever. You know what I mean? Like the book I'm writing right now will probably come out January of 2025.
Yeah.
Well, I have a new series I'm starting next year with my own books that I've already got the first book done. The second book's with an editor. I can put them all faster and I can gain a lot more momentum. So I like that.
I think a lot of
I love
authors
Love
feel that
Inspired.
way. I think a lot of authors feel that way, that self-publish or indie publish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm very blessed to be a fast writer, so that helps me. And I like to put out more books a year, and I get a lot more flexibility. But again, I love Love Inspired. They have been very good to me, so
Yeah.
no complaints. I love Tina, my editor. She's wonderful.
She's my editor too. Mine and Darlene.
Wow.
And
Oh,
Dana's.
And mine.
And Dana's, yes.
Yeah, lots of us.
Okay,
So
I'm
did
not
that answer all your
sure.
questions? I think, Loretta.
Pardon?
Did I answer all your questions?
Yes, you did.
All right.
Impressive.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to Virginia's question.
Hi, Laura. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I too love writing for Love Inspired Suspense. I'm so thrilled to be writing for them. And I know how many books you put out because trying to keep up with you, but
Everybody has to do their own thing.
you're a fast writer. Can I ask you what your writing process is? How do you put a book together?
So, keep in mind, I've written a lot of books for Harlequin, probably 67 books for Harlequin. So they've trained me well. I write a synopsis, I write the first 3 chapters. I do that even with my indie books now because it really helps me
Mm-hmm.
to have, because for the first couple indie books, I was just like, oh, we'll just wing it by the seat of my pants. We'll just figure it out. And it was taking forever. Like I was really struggling. So I do the same now. They have taught me well. I write my 3 chapters. Here's the other thing that's really hilarious. Like almost all of my Love Inspired Suspense books come in almost at the exact same word count every time. Like I don't really know how that happens. And now for my indie books, which are longer because of my contract, they come in almost at the exact same page count every time. 242, 244, 244. I'm like, how I did that. So I must be really a little bit robotic in my little brain. I don't know. But I really am diligent. I write full time now. I retired about 2-3 years ago from my day job because I was writing a lot of books while I was working a full-time job. That was really hard. And my husband's still working, so he's not here all day. So My kids are grown and gone. I don't have any grandkids yet, which makes me a little sad. But, you know, someday I will. So I feel like I got to write now while I can, while there's nobody here. So I write a chapter a day.
Good
And
for you.
and then a couple days usually to do a synopsis. So I can pretty much write a book a month. I know that sounds terrible, but
Wow.
Do you write on the weekends too, or just during the week?
if I have nothing going on. So how's that for an iffy answer?
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
So like next weekend, I won't be writing at all because I have a big holiday party here at my house on Saturday, and then I'm flying to Florida for a week with some writer friends of mine on Sunday.
Fun.
This last weekend, I hosted Thanksgiving, and then I wrote Saturday and Sunday, but not Friday.
And do you follow your synopsis pretty well? I mean, or
No, not
are you more
always.
of a pantser or
So here's what happens. I write the synopsis, and then as I'm writing, I almost always change up the bad guy or change the reason for the bad guy or something, or add a new twist to the bad guy. Like first I think they're going to like resolve the whole bad guy thing over here, but then, oh no, it's going to be over here and we're going to do it this way. And so I'm always changing it a little, but I like kind of knowing where I'm going.
Mhm.
And because I have written so many books for Harlequin, my synopses tend to be pretty long. My friends make fun of me. They're like, I can't believe you're writing like a 16 to 18 page synopsis for your indie book. And I'm like, well, that's what I do. That's what I do for our Love Inspired. So whatever. I just do the same thing now. So I am very disciplined. Again, my friends kind of not make fun of me, but they're always like, well, Laura's writing today. But I really, I'm not that old. So I'm like, this is still my full-time job. I'm still doing it. I have a lot, talk about deadlines. I have a book coming out every month next year. They're
Wow.
Love Inspired or Indies.
Wow.
So
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yes,
That
it
is
is.
I have a
awesome.
lot of deadlines, lots, which makes me a little like,
That's amazing.
just when my hair's getting shorter and shorter.
That is pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's just what I do.
You give us something to strive for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Remember,
A month.
everybody has their own way. It's
Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
my way is not the right way.
All right, for our next question, we have Shannon.
Hi, Laura. So nice to get to talk with you tonight.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Congratulations on another book out. So my question for you is what are your favorite things about your hero and your heroine in this story?
So, like I said, this book, Christmas Crisis, was one of those that almost wrote itself because I had built Ellie's character from the first book that came out in January. And so I had so much fun. Like there were all these little stories, like because Ellie was bringing home, like she brought home what she thought was a puppy, but it was a baby coyote, and it bit her. And so Rye thought she had rabies, and like she brought a homeless man in, and he tried to steal from them, and all these little stories throughout that I got to pull together. So Ellie's character was well rounded by the time I got to this book, and I will say I felt a little bad torturing her with the Christmas parade. And it's a tough thing to write the active shooter thing. I don't love that, but it's also very real. And I did twist this up so that it wasn't really just a random shooting. This guy had targeted someone for a purpose and then thought Ellie knew something. So then he started to come after her. So it wasn't exactly the active shooter thing, but it was similar. So
Mhm.
Joe, I loved that Joe was, it's his boss's youngest sister, and he's got to protect her, but he's also falling for her. And so in this whole series, the siblings help each other out all the time, right? So he's about to kiss Ellie, and Brady, one of the other brothers, walks in and catches him, and he's like, "Oh my God," not "Oh my God," because can't say that, but like he breaks away really quick and is like shocked, like. So that was really fun. Like she has 6 older brothers. So he's got to take on all 6 older
Yeah,
brothers
that's
to win
intimidating.
her heart.
Yeah.
And at the end, you know, she sticks up for herself and he sticks up for her. And it's really a fun, I just had a lot of fun with that book.
Tell us a little bit more about your hero and what you loved about him.
So Joe is very protective, but he's also, you know, a tough guy, kind of like her brother. Like I said, the biggest thing with Joe is he's trying to walk that balance, right? Between having the respect of his boss and the team and dealing with Ellie's 6 brothers and being with Ellie. So, he pretty much has to, you know, stick up for himself with his boss, and they're, you know, they come up to each other pretty close towards the end there.
Is the boss upset that they're liking each
Now,
other?
I mean, he gets over it. He's fine.
Yeah.
But they have to be all macho.
Gotta have the happily ever after, right? So, I
You
mean,
gotta have the happily ever
yeah.
after.
Yeah.
And then he, of course, proposes in front of everybody at the Christmas reunion. So that's kind of fun too.
That is
Joe's a sweetheart.
very nice. I had one of my best friends in high school. Her name was Ellie. So
Ah,
yeah.
yeah, I gave them all these Irish names because they're Finnegans, they're Irish. But then, like Ryland, you know, if I had thought about it, I would like that's, you know, 9 books with Rye in it.
Yeah,
A tough name, you know,
that is, yeah.
Yeah.
but it
So
worked
we
out.
have one last question, and that is Darlene.
Hi, Laura. It's good to see you again.
Thank you for having me, Darlene.
Well, we're so glad you're here. So we've talked a little bit about your writing process, and we've talked about your books and your hero and heroine, but tell us something about you that we can't find anywhere on the internet.
Okay, what did I tell you last time? I'm trying to remember. I don't have that many. So 2 things that probably nobody knows. That's probably nowhere on the internet. Number 1, I almost flunked out of nursing school, like a lot. Like I had to, so, you
Hard.
know, well, I had to work 3 jobs. You know, my dad lost his job when I was a senior in high school. So I had to work 3 jobs to get myself through nursing school. And so I was always working the night before a test. And in this particular program, if you got a C, you were kicked out. So you had to have at least a C plus or a B minus. And I was
Wow.
always skating the edge. So yeah, I really barely graduated that program. And I will tell you, after I took my state boards, I was so nervous that I was going to flunk because I barely passed. And thankfully, whew, I did. So that's one thing. Everybody assumes I ended up working my way up into management at the hospital where I was. So everybody like assumed that I was some like A student. I'm like, yeah, no.
But you must have been a good
Sounds like-
manager.
Well, I was a pretty good manager,
Yeah.
but when I wanted to go back and get my bachelor's degree, I was on probation. Like, because my grades were so bad. How sad is that? So anyway, so that's one thing. The other thing is when my kids were young, they wanted to do taekwondo. So I would take them to taekwondo every week and sit there and watch while they're doing, you know, punching and kicks. And I kept thinking, wow, that looks really fun. And then I thought, why am I sitting here? Why don't I join them? So I did. So we
I love
all
that.
did taekwondo together, and we earned green with a black stripe. So it's not all that high. You start with white, then yellow.
That's tough though.
I'm thinking anyway.
And green.
With a black stripe. So we learned to chop boards with our hands and kick boards with our feet. So I could do a
wow.
snapping jump kick, or I could kick the boards and break them with my feet. And
That's
nobody knows that. Those
Impressive.
pictures
Wow.
are-
Great.
Love that. Very impressive.
So 2 fun things.
Does it
And-
hurt?
It doesn't. Well, I should say if you hit it wrong, it hurts.
Yeah.
If you hit it right, it doesn't hurt. But if you hit off to the edge, yeah, it kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Should hit the middle. Got to hit in the middle. That's the hardest part.
The
is
aim.
aiming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think I should go back.
Carter took taekwondo, and I was content to just sit there and read while he was doing it. So he's always been a hard worker, obviously.
You're like, I could get my reading in.
Mhm.
I would be the same, Ginger.
Yeah.
I'd be there with you.
And my kids
No,
did taekwondo, and I didn't want to break boards, but I would love to take Krav Maga classes. That's like
Yeah.
like self-defense. I would
Yeah.
love to do that, but I don't think I want to break any boards. I just want to break some noses. Like
Oh.
somebody comes at me, I could just pop them one,
Yeah.
Carter broke
Hey,
broke the
wait, this is
board.
research.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carter broke the board, and the day he did it, we were driving home, and he was like, "I can break things. You see that light pole right there? I'm going to break that light pole." I'm like, "I don't think you're going to break the light pole."